Hello, and welcome to Day by Day True Crime Stories, the podcast where we explore a different crime or justice milestone from this day in history. I'm your host, Kona Gallagher, and today is November 12th. On this day in 1976, 36-year-old Renée MacRae left Inverness, Scotland with her 3-year-old son, Andrew. She dropped her older son, Gordon Jr., off with her estranged husband that afternoon. Then she headed south in her BMW. Later that night, the car was found burned out in a lay-by along the A9 near Dalmagary, just miles from Inverness. Renée and Andrew were gone, and to this day, their bodies have never been recovered. Today, we're talking about the disappearance and murders of Renée and Andrew MacRae. Let's get started. By November 1976, Renée and her husband, Gordon MacRae, were separated, but they maintained regular contact for their children. On November 12th, Renée set out with both boys. That afternoon, she dropped 9-year-old Gordon Jr. off with his father. It was the last confirmed public sighting of her before she disappeared. Renée told her estranged husband that she was planning to spend the weekend in Kilmarnock with her sister, though her best friend later said that that had only been a cover story for Gordon, and that her real plans for that weekend were quite different. Just after 5 p.m., witnesses reported seeing a blue BMW heading south on the A9. Much later, during court proceedings, Renée's real plans emerged. Testimony from her close friend Valerie Steventon revealed that Renée had intended to meet William Bill McDowell, a married colleague of her husband's, for a weekend away. The pair had been carrying on an affair for the past 4 years, and McDowell was actually the biological father of 3-year-old Andrew. That evening, as darkness settled over the Highlands and traffic thinned on the A9, it was the last time they were seen alive. Later that night, a train driver spotted Renée's BMW engulfed in flames in a roadside lay-by. When police arrived, the car was empty. Once they were able to get inside the vehicle, investigators found a rug stained with blood, but neither Renée nor Andrew was anywhere nearby. Later court summaries included testimony from a witness who saw 2 people in the lay-by and another who recalled seeing a person with wide, staring eyes pushing what looked like a clothed object in a pushchair nearby. The investigation immediately revealed Renée's secret relationship with Bill McDowell. Valerie Steventon also recalled that McDowell had been talking about an upcoming move to Shetland for a job with Texaco, and these were plans that he had apparently shared with Renée, but prosecutors later found them to be false. When questioned in the days after Renée vanished, McDowell initially denied any involvement with her. But later that same day, he admitted the affair, but walked back his claims about moving to Shetland. As the investigation went on, police chased 123 reported sightings of a woman and a child. They were all eventually ruled out. Over time, police gathered more than 1,500 statements. A journalist later testified that 8 days after Renée disappeared, McDowell claimed that he'd received coded phone calls from her. And when asked if he had told police, he reportedly replied, "It must have slipped my mind." Attention also turned to McDowell's company car. Witnesses said that he refused to return it until he had finished scrubbing it out with the boot lid open. Within weeks, he had requested a replacement boot floor, later claiming that he'd burned the original. An invoice dated December 8, 1976 supported the timing. Piece by piece, a picture emerged of a secret relationship and suspicious behavior. It was a case built not on a single piece of evidence, but on an accumulation of troubling details. As the years went on, the search for Renée and Andrew kept circling back to the area near the A9. In 2004, investigators carried out a massive excavation at Dalmagary Quarry, just yards from where the BMW had been found. Nearly 2,000 trees were cleared, and teams conducted a fingertip search, but no remains were found. Years later, in 2018 and 2019, police shifted focus to Llanach Quarry near Culloden Battlefield, a deep and water-filled site long suspected of being used for illegal dumping. In 2019, the quarry was drained. Roughly 13 million liters of water were pumped out and around 100,000 tons of earth and silt were removed. About 55 abandoned vehicles were uncovered, but none were linked to the case. During this operation, investigators confirmed the discovery of items, including bone fragments and pushchair wheels. These items were sent for forensic analysis, though their origin was not publicly confirmed. Then, more than 40 years after the disappearance, prosecutors brought charges. In September 2019, Bill McDowell was charged with the murders of Renée and Andrew MacRae. He was also charged with attempting to pervert the course of justice, including allegations that he disposed of their bodies, burned Renée's car, and got rid of the boot carpet from his Volvo. His trial began on September 12, 2022. Without the bodies, the Crown had to rely on circumstantial evidence, but it was extensive. There was testimony about the secret relationship and Andrew's paternity, forensic findings of blood in the BMW boot, sightings near the lay-by, and witness descriptions of McDowell's behavior in the days after Renée vanished. Jurors heard about the cleaning of the Volvo and McDowell's unusual request for a new boot floor shortly after November 12th. A civil engineer also reported seeing a figure hiding behind a Volvo that night. Prosecutors argued that McDowell killed Renée and Andrew to prevent his affair and Andrew's paternity from becoming public. On September 29, 2022, the jury found McDowell guilty by majority. He received a life sentence with a minimum term of 30 years. He appealed initially, but later abandoned the appeal. McDowell died in prison in February 2023, only 6 months after his sentencing, never revealing where Renée and Andrew were buried. Today, police in Scotland and the MacRae family continue to appeal for information, hoping for a proper burial for mother and son. In March 2025, items found near the A9 lay-by were sent for forensic examination. Investigators have not yet confirmed their significance. Now, nearly 5 decades after Renée and Andrew disappeared, the legal case has closed. But the most important question remains unanswered. Where are they? For the MacRae family, that answer is everything. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Day by Day True Crime Stories. If you found this episode compelling, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It'll help us grow. And be sure to join me again tomorrow as we explore another significant event in true crime history. Until then, stay safe and remember that behind every headline is a life worth remembering. Day by Day True Crime Stories is a Little Monster production.
Hey, you can do it!